Welcome to Legend Makers, the podcast where education's true heroes take center stage. Yeah, we are back with another episode of the Legend Makers podcast, and I have a Legend Maker right in front of me. This is Paul Buckley. Paul, how you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you, Scott. Nice to have you.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, man. So, Paul, you're the founder and managing owner of Ratio Staffing, and you're going to talk all about Ratio Staffing. I think what I'm excited to talk to you about is your mission, because I think we share, drone legends here. We lead by inside every child lives a legend, and You've got better classrooms, better care, and a better future for everyone involved. So why don't you tell us about the mission, and you can talk about Ratio and what your goal is there.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Scott. The mission being, we're trying to ensure there's direct connection between schools and teachers, right? In the preschool world, there hasn't been any real technological or any kind of advancement, right? In preschool teachers being able to connect directly to schools without an agency in the way or some kind of barrier to connection, right? The current kind of standard models kind of take a standard staffing process and supplant it on preschool. In the preschool world, it doesn't work, right? Preschool teachers and schools need flexibility, they need agency, and they deserve it, right? They deserve agency and flexibility in their life too, right? Yeah. So with our platform, we remove the agencies, we remove the barrier, and we allow direct connection. A school can make a profile, they can promote their school, they can exhibit what's fantastic about their school, and they can then be discoverable, right, by teachers. They can also search out teacher profiles and connect directly to them, right? Same goes for teachers. They can make a profile, they can show what's great about themselves, right, and connect to those schools directly if they want, receive messages, that kind of thing, right? So it's its own entity for preschool teachers only, right? The point being, finding preschool teachers is tough, right? Using existing systems.
Why so? Can I interrupt? I'm sorry, why?
Yeah, so the existing systems are complicated, right, and expensive. So like Indeed is expensive and complicated for preschools, right? Indeed does not care about preschools finding teachers. I'm not dogging Indeed. They're allowed to run their business and make their money and do what they're doing, right? They're allowed to do it. I'm just saying for the preschool world, it doesn't work. It's too expensive. It's too complicated. There's too much noise, right? And so to find a teacher on there, forget it. And same goes for the preschool teacher themselves, right? You put your resume on Indeed, you make a profile, whatever they offer you. There's a billion schools on there. You can't find what you're looking for, right? That's not the point of the platform, right? Same goes with these substitute agencies. Childcare Careers is kind of the biggest in the country, and they again don't care necessarily about the school finding the right teacher or the teacher finding their home school. They care about leasing out that teacher to the school, getting paid the hourly rate, and they care about charging you a buyout fee if you want to keep that teacher, right? So that it's expensive, complicated, and predatory, right? There's no real smooth, easy, calm process until now, right? So with us, we deal with only preschools, only preschool teachers. There's no noise, and there's only direct connection, right? That's all there is. And so in that way, it makes it simpler, it makes it faster and more affordable.
So, okay, cool. How do you get here? So no, I think that's amazing. And you found clearly you've got this niche. And so what I always say is there's this great expression of, sometimes the best companies are when a founder scratches an itch, right? And so what was your itch?
Yeah, well, I was a preschool teacher.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about that.
I was a preschool teacher for a while. My wife is still a preschool teacher, right? And I also, after my time in the classroom, I went to go work for the largest biotech firm in the world, right?
Who'd you work for?
I worked for Genentech, which was owned by Roche.
Yeah, I used to be in the business. Well, I was I was on the agency side. I worked for publications planning agencies for years. So
yeah, right on. Yeah, and so Roche had a
super
site
fun, super exciting, super sexy publication planning. No,
that's cool. Right. Yeah. Well, the thing is, my time
cooler.
Right. Yeah, my time there was great in the sense that I learned a lot. The company was great. I went to Nutley, New Jersey, and saw Roche's site there.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw a bunch of sites all over in Europe and things. And so it was a great
Hmm.
time and I learned a lot, right? But after almost 10 years and then getting married and us beginning to have kids, it wasn't for me longer term,
Hmm.
right? And so I talked to my boss for a while about it and then finally gave him 6 months notice saying I was leaving, right?
Hmm.
Before we had our first son. And so I cashed everything out and then spent it over the next 2 years staying home with our first son, right?
Yeah.
And while I was home with him, the preschool my wife works at was having trouble finding an associate director, right?
Uh-huh.
And given my background in preschool and then all my years of training in process improvement and performance management and hiring and firing, I got my Six Sigma green belt even right while at Genentech. And
Hmm.
so with that knowledge, I asked the school, I said, would you mind if I look at your process? Because I'm a process driven thinking it's not the people, right? Something's flawed in your process here. Let me look at your hiring process.
Huh.
Maybe I can help you there. Maybe I can help you do something.
Yeah.
The director instead said, why don't we pay you and you do the recruiting? And I said, okay. And I said, okay. So I just did it, not really having recruited before. Right. And so,
Yeah. Just
but
dove right in. You just
yeah,
dived
dove
right
in.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Why
all
not?
right. That's how you
Yeah. Why
learn.
not? Yeah,
That's how you do it, right?
that's right. And they've been searching for a year and we found them someone in 2 months. Right. Who's still there
How?
to this day.
How'd you do that? Like, what was
I,
so they were a year, and you
yep.
come in and do it in 2 months. Oh, why?
Yeah.
How?
I think I think some of it is always like serendipity and timing. Okay, first
Okay,
of all.
fair.
Some of it also is their process was too long. It was too
Okay.
long and too complicated, right? So they were losing people during the process. So that was an
Hmm.
easy fix. Secondly, the candidates being discussed and being interviewed, you know, it's hard to explain, but sometimes it's like you have to be able to figure someone out, right? And feel them, right? You have to be able to feel who they are. And I
Okay.
think who they were talking to, they weren't aligning with the values, right? They're wasting time, basically.
Yeah.
They're
So
wasting time,
can I ask you a
basically. Yeah.
question? Can I ask you
Yeah.
because that's a really interesting. So I'm intrigued by that as a founder, hiring, did it finding people. So we
Right.
talk about systems, right? And maybe this is getting us on a tangent, but I'm really curious about this. So you talk
Yeah.
about systems on one side of things, but you just said you qualified something. There was a qualifier there that was like it was more of a warm. It wasn't quant. It was qual. And so,
Hmm.
how do you? Is there? I guess my question is there a way to create a system around the qualification? And I think there is. I think the answer is yes, but I want to understand how because it seems like that's what it is. So your gut, you're going off of like you're reading a person that's how do you systematize that? Like, how do you make that like an SOP or a system? I'm just
Right.
really curious about that.
Well, I love when you bring up the SOP because at my time, in biotech, I wrote and revised like over 300 SOPs, right, and
Okay.
trainings,
All right.
and so I'm from the school of thought that you cannot standardize everything, right? The SOP is not meant to capture every single situation, right? Because you can't and you shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
The old adage is write it so any idiot can do it. Wrong, right? Now, if
Right.
you're viewing your employees that way, one, that's a wrong frame of mind. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, you're saying I don't want you to think. Also wrong. I want you to think while on the
Yeah.
job, right? And so same as the hiring process. You want to establish, right, a clear set process of which candidates are we opening up the application to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they being funneled to, right? How quickly are we going to be talking to them? Like, what's our system for reaching out to them? You want to make the window from application to job offer as small as possible, right? Now, within that framework, you can then live in the quality, right? You can then live in and explore the quality of the candidate because you have the framework keeping you safe as far as
Mm.
your time, as far as your timing goes, and who's applying, right? And in
Yeah.
order to, and I don't know that you can proceduralize the the quality of the candidate or the actual conversation, except for knowing the school. Before I did, so what happened was I ended up doing one-on-one recruiting for preschools before building this platform, right?
Mm.
And before I recruit for them, I would get to know the school. Sorry, I froze
Okay.
there. I
That's
would,
right.
I would, I would spend time at the school for at least a month
Yeah. Okay.
on the floor, watching the children, interacting with children, talking to teachers. I'd become the school, right?
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then when I'm talking to someone and looking at their
Uh-huh.
resume, I can feel they have the right feel for this school.
Is this the right fit?
Yeah, because for preschool, it's all about the environment and the feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
all, of course, it's about the education and the ability of the child. But for that team, you have to be able to fit with that team,
So
right?
is there some training that goes along with this process of like, so for example, now I'm going to be in charge of hiring. I
Right.
love this idea. So you're right. SOP, I worked years and years ago. I used to work for an SOP shop called Barnett. They were part of Par Excel. It's how I got into
Mm,
pharma. And I remember the magic around a standard operating procedure, for those that don't know what an SOP is, was
right.
that it was, to your point, not too rigid, but yet not so idiot that could do it. And it was this,
That's right.
there was a kind of this finesse and this art to creating an
That's right.
SOP. And so I love that you just kind of articulated that. But I guess, so it gives you guardrails and framework. Is there some training that goes along with like being able to start to understand kind of, maybe there's questions that you ask, or are they a fit, and how do you identify the fit? I'm just trying to figure out like
Yeah.
how that all works.
Yeah, I think what I did was, because it was just me doing it. I hadn't trained
Okay.
someone on. I actually have someone recently who's kind of dabbling and trying it, and we've been talking
Mm-hmm.
about exactly this, how to kind
Mm-hmm.
of figure out this kind of thing. And it's something I worked on before I left the company. Was I was working with an operator on how do you build a training that is, you know, because before you can work a piece of machinery, you have to be signed off on the machinery, right? Know the SOP,
Mm-hmm.
go through the training, and then be signed off on it. But in over the years of working on the machinery myself and watching people in different countries, right, work on machinery and operate equipment, it's clear that when someone's signed off, it's not, yes, we've checked the boxes as we have to, and that is important,
Mm-hmm.
but no one's ever signed off who who knows the textbook but cannot move in a certain way, right? No one signed off who can't exhibit the right behavior, right? So we tried to
Okay.
find so we tried to find trainings that were more focused on the behavior of the
Mm-hmm.
operator. Are they behaving like they know what to do? Are they troubleshooting? Are they problem solving? Are they
Yeah.
actually running the machinery properly? And so it's the same kind of thing with this. When I was doing the recruiting one-on-one, I would, of course, check qualifications. They have the right units, they have the right education, they have the right experience in the philosophy of the school I'm hiring for, right?
Mm-hmm.
But more than that, do they behave in the same way?
Hmm.
And not uniform, because schools don't want uniform behavior, right? They want someone, though, that is aligned with their philosophy. And so
Yeah.
I don't know if you can train it other than spending the time. It's something I
Mm-hmm.
found, right. I don't know if I can make it more efficient or shortcut it, because you have to spend the time to get to
Yeah.
know each school, each
Yeah.
person. You have to spend the time. And so my interviews with the
Yeah.
teachers, interviews with teachers and directors and admin were really more conversational. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, I'd fit in qualifications and things that I know the school was concerned about, and so I'd work those in. But it was never a peppering of questions. It was
Mm.
never a panel kind of peppering situation.
Right.
It was always more of, let's see if this, and also let's see if this is the right fit. And also my conversations would generally start with, what are you looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Let me find out what kind of environment you want before we waste any time here, because maybe the environment you want is not what the school is offering, so we can just end it here,
Right.
and that's okay.
There
You
is
know?
I'm reading a book right now. Boy, I read so much that I'm forgetting the book I'm reading. But
Yeah.
this great idea of having a like a core value that is articulated in an interesting way, right? So,
Mm.
for example, like I love. I was thinking about this because we were asked to write about it, right? And I was thinking about it. Like, what do I love? I love accountability and autonomy. I love that. Like, I don't want to babysit. I want to be able to. And there's this great thing, show me what you do when no one's watching, right? And
Yeah.
that's really you. If that's your, so what is my little motto then? I think it was called "Do It in the Dark." Like if you want to come here, you got to be willing to do it in the dark. And that means that when no one's watching, are you still performing at a high level? Don't just do it for optics. Do it because that's the way you are. And so that is a screener, right? That is like, do you buy into that? And I think that's what you're saying. Like, is there some framework? It's not even a framework. It's this mindset of like, we are, play is positive play or whatever it is. I don't know. Make it quirky, right? The last mile, whatever it is. And then that I thought is getting to what you're talking. The reason I bring that up is because as I'm hearing you, as I'm listening to you, it struck me like that's how they were hiring, because they were thinking about what is it that we can distill into like a little catchphrase that might even be quirky and might even scare some people away. Right. And as a screener, right? Anyway, I went off on that little tangent because it just bing, the light bulb went off. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I love that. I really do love that. And I think sometimes I remind myself that, the way I go about things sometimes in this way of finding a candidate and even following the building of this platform, sometimes it can feel scary, right? Because not everything's quantifiable. Right. I can't always quantify it for you. Right. I can't always put a number to it. I can't always show you a structure. Right. But I have to, and so it's really a process of working toward what's right, and believing this is right based on things you can't always necessarily quantify, and I understand that can be scary. Right. And it's like, and even for me, sometimes it's unsettling. Right. But, and so, but this idea that like, I love what you're saying because it's how, but I do it in the dark. I do it, right? I live this way, and I'm only doing it because the results have shown this is the way. So it's not just because I want to or whatever, right? I'm doing it because the results have shown this way is how it's supposed to be. So I'm following that way. So
let's go back to your business, because I think this is now getting into like, I want to understand the value prop to the who's your ideal case? So if I understand, again, I'm a preschool teacher. I'm looking for work, and you're pairing me with available what I'm doing is by going through Ratio, I'm eliminating all the noise and all the confusion. I think, simplicity is the highest form of elegance. Like I just keep me here in my lane. And so you've created that platform, right? That allows preschool teacher, preschools match and find the perfect pair, right?
That's right.
And so tell me how that works for you. How do people get involved? So if I'm looking, what do I do?
Right. Great. You're looking. Yeah. You log in you go to the website and you make a profile.
And the website is
ratiostaffing.com.
ratiostaffing.com. So I go there and I set up a profile.
That's right. And then you're done. It's simple as that. Really, because as an early childhood educator, right? Whether you're a preschool teacher, if you're a preschool teacher looking for a new job, if you're looking for sub work, right? If you happen to be a preschool teacher or an enrichment teacher, you want to bring cooking, art, yoga, dance, stories. If you want to bring your enrichment to a preschool, you can do that too. If you're a speech pathologist working with preschool age children, looking for experience, looking for new clients, you can list yourself on the platform too to be discovered by preschools. The point being, in preschool, right, in our ECE world, we need the chance to explore philosophies, age groups, environments safely, right?
Okay.
With our platform, you don't have to commit to a school simply based on the interview. The interview is entirely different than working in that classroom with those children, with those co-teachers, with those families. It's entirely different, right?
Okay. So describe that for me, because I'm not sure I quite so expand on that.
So I think like most, I would probably say like most organizations or most industries, the interview is one thing, right? You get a certain feel, certain understanding during the interview. Once you're doing the job, it can be entirely different than what you thought during the interview, right? It can feel different, right? And so when I interview for a preschool as a teacher, I don't always meet my co-teachers. I don't always even see the children, right?
Right.
I might get like a 1 hour, 2 hour audition where I go to the classroom and I run a circle time, or I bring an activity in or whatever, but it's all very performative, right? As it's supposed to be, because you're trying to get the job.
Yeah.
They're trying to view you in a certain way, right? They're trying to be accepting, but it's different than actually working with those co-teachers, and it's different than actually doing the job. And
Yep.
so
Okay.
it happens on both sides. The school thinks they have a great fit, and actually they're not a great fit. The teacher thinks, "Oh, I love the teacher. Oh, I love this director. I love this school." Well, that director and school are different than your co-teacher. And you're like, then you're like, "Damn, this co-teacher and I don't work." And
So
actually,
what happens then? So then what happens?
yeah, so then you're stuck. So exactly. So then what happens?
But
then
under your platform, you can move right out.
That's
off
right.
To the next one.
That's right, because you can go and be a sub instead.
Yeah.
You can start as a sub instead. You can get a shift as a sub, get paid, and actually explore and learn about the school instead before you commit.
That's great. Do you screen?
Yeah.
I mean, in other words, like, how do you? I'm thinking about preschool, and I mean, you're with kids, right? So it's like I can't just walk in there and be like, "Hey, I want to work with a bunch of kids now," and it's just me. It's Scott shows up with all these drones, right? Like, hey, who's this guy? Yeah. Who's this dude? Right? Like,
they would love it. They would probably go crazy.
I'm sure they would, but I'm sure there's a lot of other kind of people out there we don't want in preschool. So how do we screen for the right credentials? And I mean, I'm sure there has to be a pretty rigorous process around that.
Yes, what we do is we only work with states that have state requirements, right? State background check requirements for preschool teachers.
Okay.
And so you're only allowed on the platform if you've met those state requirements. If you have not met those,
you vet that, you validate that, right?
Right. And so if you haven't met those requirements, you're not allowed on the platform. Number one. Number two, the schools are also still governed by those requirements no matter what. So even if I say they have the requirements, when the school brings someone in, they still have to confirm again for themselves, right? So luckily in this, in our country, we have requirements and systems already established that we're following and trusting, right? So there's already well-established security systems in place that that are above my pay grade. And so we stay within those systems always. And so if you meet those requirements, you can be on the platform. If the school agrees that they want to have you at their facility, you're allowed to then go there. But the key being, the teacher can say no also. Because right now, with the current standard subbing agencies and staffing models, they can't say no. The agencies claim, "Oh, come be a sub with us. There's flexibility," and this and that. There's not really flexibility, because
there isn't. Why not? I mean, what are they really doing? What's the reality?
Because the reality is they employ the sub. They're on a point system, right? And to justify their paycheck every 2 weeks, you better get
more, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all you had to do was they're on a point system, and bing, you had me a point system, right?
Yeah,
you just follow the money, right? They're incentivized to keep them there regardless of whether they're working or not.
That's right.
That's the reality, right? So even if you're not working, just zip it, because it's like when I used to build decks and we used to build them really fast. I remember the old guys were like, "Dude, slow down."
That's right.
You're building this deck really too fast, bro.
Exactly
like, we got to milk this thing. This thing should take us a week, and you're going to finish this thing in like 2 days. I get it.
Right.
All right, cool.
That's exactly right. And so the sub agency, they employ them, right? And then they get a phone call. "Hey, we need a sub." The agency then says, "Okay, so and so, you're going to school 1." The sub says, "I don't know about that age group. I don't know about the philosophy."
They just put them in anyway.
Yeah, they say, "Well, you can decline, but you lose points."
Yeah.
So can you really decline? No, you can't really decline.
No.
So then, so they're forced to go places they don't want to go. They're forced to be in environments they don't want to be in. And then, what's to me even what's really the injustice about it really is, the teacher goes there, right, against their will. Really, they feel unsafe. So what do? They just sit there, because they want to at least keep them legally within their legal ratios required by the state, right? Then what's the feedback from the school? "Oh, they're just a body in the room. They just sit there."
Not very good. Right. So it really just has this cascade effect. It has this effect that follows them now.
That's right. And then, and even worse, even worse, if the school, let's say it's a match and the school loves that teacher and they want to retain them as a teacher, they have to buy him out of their contract. And the school can't afford. No, zero contracts, zero buyouts, none of that, right? And so,
Wow.
and even if the teacher quits that sub agency, there's still, but they worked somewhere before, there's still a blackout date.
Mm.
There's the school's still on the hook for that buyout fee if they hire them within
So
that
you
blackout
allow
period.
people, so ratio allows, this model allows for a few things, right? So you allows for uh, customized fit, right? Make sure you're fit. Flexibility. So as both on both sides, right? Good
That's
fit,
right.
great. Hang around. We love you. You're great. We love you too. Everything's good. Not a good fit. Good. Next one, off to the next one. No
Right.
harm, no foul.
That's right.
Over here, I don't like it here. They may like me, but I don't. This isn't really what I thought it was going to be. I can extract myself without any penalty.
That's right.
No blacklisting, no contracts, no nothing, and then move on to maybe the next opportunity and let somebody else fill the opportunity that might be more better suited for them that this person
Exactly.
didn't fit. So you're putting round pegs in round holes, and that's the way the model works. And if you happen to be a square over here, well, we have got a square over there for you, and let the round peg over here. Is that
100%? That's 100% right. And on top of that,
Mhm.
the school can also post a job opening too, right? They can post a job opening and
Yeah.
receive applications to that job too. So you can post a job, receive applications,
Mm.
search
Yeah.
teachers, save your favorite teachers, right? So you get
Yeah.
everything you need for your preschool in our preschool world, right?
It's wonderful.
And
Love it.
and with the enrichment portion, I think about our world at large, right? If you are an artist, right? If you have a skill, right? That you want, if you have a passion, my feeling is I hope you continue that passion, right? And keep it in our worlds. We need it. And I hope you get paid for it, right?
Mhm.
Here's an option for you. Let me at least provide you additional option for compensation for your passion and for your art. Come bring it to children who love it and want to see it too, right?
Yeah.
And keep it in our world, right? Keep
So
it in our world.
how do you deal with the screening there for enrichment? Do they still have to go through the same screening? And they have do you provide their ability to do a background check as they enter into your platform? Like, so say I like doing music, or let's say for my drones, let's just use me for example. So here I am. I've got this great thing that I come up with. I got my little drones, and I want to come in and I want to preschool, maybe a little young, but work with me here. So
Right.
I come in and I really want to bring my program to preschool. I've got this great idea, but I'm not a teacher. I'm not, I don't have my certifications. I don't have any of that. Do you offer me a pathway to become like background check certified? Like, how does that work for somebody like me?
Yeah, so each state's different, right? Number
Mm-hmm.
one, and then
Mm-hmm.
and number two, the enrichment situation is kind of an established like contracting environment or market
Okay.
already. I mean, right? And so technically, the enrichment teacher is responsible for all of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it only behooves them to do it though, because you become a more attractive candidate or more attractive
Mm-hmm.
enrichment teacher. Because if the schools see in your profile you have all these things done, they're more likely going to
Yeah.
call you.
Right.
If it's not, then they're probably not going to call you as often.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely are enrichment teachers left alone anyway. Usually the enrichment's done with teachers around. You're
Okay.
not left alone.
Yeah.
You're usually only left alone if all your background clearance is done and you have some education in preschool.
Got it.
Then usually you're not left alone. So it's still safe, right? There's still
I
again
got it. Yeah.
there's still an established process, but I don't provide the like
Fair. Yeah.
background check portal or anything like that because it's just a different
Yeah.
business than I want to be in. And
Sure. Yeah.
it's really like, and again, per state, it would be like it would be an entirely different branch of the business,
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah.
basically,
Fair.
right?
Yeah.
So
Good. Good.
yeah, so it's on the enrichment teacher to do the extra to be that more of an attractive teacher,
Yeah.
right? Or contractor.
Yeah. Hey, I'm always curious as to, as a founder to another founder, like, this is fun, right? Why? Like, why do you do what you do, Paul? Like there's got to be something driving you beyond profit and, whatever. What is it that wakes you up in the morning, keeps you up at night because you've got this drive that you got to do something? What's that? What is that?
I think what really did it for me, it really solidified my like drive and desire to do it was hearing that feedback and hearing and learning about that system of the current subbing agencies. I had the drive to, I wanted to do my part. I feel so fortunate in this world and in my life
Mm-hmm.
But I've always had a drive to be giving back wherever I can. I feel indebted to the world, right? And so, and I want to make sure I'm giving back as much as I can to the world. And this process to me of establishing this platform is part of that, is like doing my small part in the world. So that's always been my driver. And having three boys myself, I want to make sure that I'm that when I talk to them about what I do, I have no qualms about what I'm doing day in and day out when I talk to them, right? And
Yeah.
so that was enough for me already. But then when I learned about just the kind of predatory and like nature of these subbing platforms, it like in an instant, it like extrapolated like the pain and like dark cloud, you know what I mean? Like, in the world, and I'm going,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so unnecessary to
Hmm.
do it this way. And like all the stress and the pain and like the resentment and the anger caused by it is so unnecessary and so unneeded in our world. And especially in the preschool world. Because to me, what happens in a preschool classroom is everything we claim the world should be doing, right? Preschool teachers and preschoolers are doing it. It's actually happening in these little rooms with little people, right? And so I'm like, let's keep that. Let's get it out in the world as much as we can, and keep
Yeah.
it. Let's keep that. Let's bring that calm and that peace and that connection and that like that my fellow human being, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep that connection and increase that connection in the world, so we can win together and work better together. So for me, it's like just trying to do my small part and moving the world forward in a way that I feel is being shown to me that I can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. Love it. Love the
Yeah.
fact that you got how old are your boys?
10, 7, and 4.
Woo, young.
Yeah. Yeah, they're little. Yeah, they're
That's
little guys
good.
still.
That's
Yeah.
great. Good. So yeah, so like you want them to have the best teachers. You want them to have the right fit. And I don't mean best in
Right.
terms of you're better than this person. I think the fit's everything, isn't it? So I think
That's right.
culturally the fit's got to be there. So success stories. Always like to hear like, you know, where are your wins? Like where are your
Yeah.
big wins? What are certain things that you're like proud of, and not in like this a pride, but that like that was an accomplishment and that served the mission.
Yeah. Early on, when it was simply a sub platform before the full platform got built, early on, there was a woman who's a Spanish English bilingual preschool teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And she admittedly, I only say it because she said it. I didn't say it about her. She said, Paul, I'm a little older and I don't know about these things. And but I'm trying to find work.
Mm-hmm.
And so she came on as a substitute. She got brought into a Spanish English bilingual preschool here in San Francisco. She came and subbed for a week. They hired her regular full time, right? And she called me and was like, Paul, I never would have found this job
Wow.
without this
Right.
platform, and I love it here. And she's been there ever since. And that was like 3-4 years ago,
Nice.
right? And
That's
so
great.
that to me I was like, that's exactly why we have it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is for situations like this, a person who was a fantastic teacher, right? A quality individual, right? Wants to be in the world and do her part in the world, and was having difficulty in finding a spot and that difficulty shouldn't even exist. Or there should be no
Yeah.
trouble with her finding a position that she's entitled to and good for, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and that difficulty went away with our platform, and she found that
Right.
job because they found her, right? They found each
And they
other just
found
like
her.
that, right? And now
It's a match.
recently, yeah, and now recently, since the new platform, I mean, since the robust, full platform has been completed finally as of last August. One of my long-standing clients from being a recruiter too, I was asking them, how's the platform working? Trying to get some feedback. And it was a great situation because they go, oh, it's okay. I posted a job. I only got 5 applicants. I only had 2 respond to me. And then we hired one. And so I stopped them. I was like, but you hired one. She was like,
Yeah.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did hire someone. I was like, yeah. I was like, and
and
she goes, oh, wait a
how's it
minute.
working out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. But we're all so used to the current process
Of
of
just hundreds of screening,
exactly
which is
that.
exhausting.
That's right. So she didn't even
It's
trip that. Oh, I only needed 5, and I
yes.
only needed 2 interviews, and I got one. And
I
she's like,
got
oh,
what
that's
I was
right.
looking right. So
And
score.
yeah, score. But
Boom.
we're all so used to this. It's such an ingrained thing, right? It's like it's such
Yeah.
human
Yeah.
nature. it's human nature of like, this isn't great for me, but I'm used to it. I'm going to keep doing.
Yeah.
I don't even realize I'm in it.
You're so conditioned to
You're
believe
so
that
conditioned.
volume
Yeah.
equals interest
Yeah.
versus, wow, I like that. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
you can just take that and well, there it goes. Well, that gets to your point earlier of taking this and making it into this, right?
That's right.
Because it took five. I was going to use a horrible analogy. It took five.
Right.
I was going to do the old Tootsie Pop. How many licks to get to the center?
Right.
That'll just age the hell out of me. But the owl just crunch
The
on
owl.
it.
Yeah.
But just three. So but you got it in three, right? We did it in three.
Right.
Versus 11. And there's another reference. But so I love that. That is success. And so I really think this is cool. My gosh, my brain's like, we should do this for every vertical. But no, it's great. I love the enthusiasm for what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I think there's a huge need here for this. And so people can find ratiostaffing.com.
Yep.
And so they can now, how many states are you operating in?
Yeah, right now we're in California, Rhode Island, and we're also in Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
And we're working on Massachusetts. I'd love to get Pennsylvania and Jersey on there too. And so I'm still working through state requirements, right?
Okay.
To make sure we meet state requirements. And so we'll be on there soon. But in the meantime, if you don't want to wait and you want something happening and you want connection with teachers, if you fill out the contact form on the Ratio website, it goes to me directly. It's not a bot. It's me. I will see the contact form. I will call you, email you, whatever you want me to do, and we will work something out. We'll find a way, right? And there's promo codes available, so you're not paying for anything in the beginning. You're only paying later when it's working. You don't pay in the beginning when we work it out. So it's free in the beginning, 30, 60, even 90 days at times to make sure it's working for you. So don't worry about the cost. Don't worry about spending money on something that's not yours, not working for you. And I like to be clear too, I'm not a tech guy or data guy. We're not gathering your data. We're not spamming you. We're not selling your data. There are no ads on the website. There's none of that. There's nothing being gathered, kept, or secretive about what's happening. It's simply connection amongst ourselves in the preschool world. That's it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow. This is cool. So we're going to send people there. We're going to link in the show notes. And where else can people find you? LinkedIn, Instagram, and give them all. We'll link them in the show notes, but you're everywhere, I'm assuming.
Yeah. We're on Instagram under Ratio Staffing, at Ratio Staffing. LinkedIn is actually under my name. It's under Paul Buckley. So you'll see LinkedIn under me. Facebook also Ratio Staffing. I don't do a whole lot of social media posting. I'm trying to ramp that up now. But there is some on there. And so I want to make sure every time a podcast comes out, I like to link that. I will post about that to cross promote, so we do that. But you can find us on there. We're there.
Okay,
and again,
great. We'll link to everything out so that people can find you. Okay, looking at time. Do you have any last? Okay, send us out. I'm an optimist, right? The world through rose-colored glasses, and the glass is always half full. So it's easy to get. I always say this: it's easy to fall into our little silos and believe that the world's crumbling down around us. When I believe that we actually live in probably some of the best times in humanity. If you think back at it, it's easy to say, it's polarization. So optimism, where do you see things going? What are you excited about as it relates to your business and the preschool world and what the opportunities are for our children moving forward? Let's send us out on a high note.
Yeah, I really feel I'm so excited because there's so many people out there who care, right? And want to be involved and want to help us grow together as a species and as a country. Right? There are a lot of people out there who want to be involved and love doing this and love giving back and love connecting. And so on the platform, you can find them, right? And I think I want to always remind teachers and preschools that you matter 100%. We believe you matter, right? And people want to give to you also. Schools want to find you. People want to help ensure your life is as enjoyable and respectful and respected as it should be. So definitely there are people out there like you and like us, right? There's more, I agree, there's more of us than you may think. I believe on a whole, we want to connect and move forward. And I think that we are going in the right direction. I think we are going in the right direction, and this platform is here to help is all it is. And so please come on and be a part of it, move forward together.
Absolutely. Paul, Thank you very much.
Right
This
on.
was awesome.
Yeah.
This is really cool. I'm glad we talked. Yeah, this will drop
Same
in
here.
a few weeks. We're going to hang on a second. We'll wrap up. But everybody, go see Paul Buckley, Ratio Staffing. You're going to love this. This is cool. Thanks, Paul. Bye.
Thanks, Scott.